Hello, everyone, and welcome to Government Cheese Time. Government Cheese Time is an entertaining live stream about watches. We're sponsored by the Anti-Watch Watch Club, a 501c3 charitable organization that utilizes a drop style culture by selling stuff like Nalgene bottles, a cool flag behind me, awesome shirts like this, tone it down shirts, all kinds of stuff to contribute to first responder, military, law enforcement, and veteran type charitable organizations. And it's an awesome group of people. Check them out, antiwatchclub.org, and support them. They do good stuff for people. Tonight's guest for the live stream is Justin from Recon Team Watch Blog. I always want to say the old Recon Team Forceburg because I really like the way that sounds.
Yeah.
How you doing, Justin?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. So you got any? We usually do a sit rep when we start. So if anything cool's happened, any cool watch related stuff, have you got any new NWAs? Or since you're a newer guest for our audience, do you have you? I know you've picked up one or two new pieces, right? Like, have you had any
Yeah.
experience, like, anything you want to discuss with that?
Yeah, I got I guess my two latest additions are Texas watches. If anybody knows who I am, you know I'm from Texas, and I've kind of been looking into the Texas watch scene more and more. I ended up picking up a Dufresne Waterloo, which is kind of their dressy style linen dial watch. Picked one of those up a couple weeks ago, and then I've been honeymooning pretty hardcore with my. I'll
Yeah,
take it off real quick and show you. Um, Jack Mason Strato timer in
yes.
espresso, which is the GMT that they use with the Miyota 9075. Got it on the 7 link Jubilee. Been wearing this. I've been honeymooning with it
That
for
thing's
about 2
legit.
weeks now, maybe a little over 2 weeks, but that's my two new watch releases right now. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations on that piece. I love yeah, we talked about it in the interview that's gonna post next week, but I love Jack Mason's logo. Like I'm gonna scream
Yeah,
this to
it's
the
clean.
hills, man. Like, I grew up a Dodger fan, I feel like one of the best uniforms in sports history, the Dodger uniform. I grew up a Raider fan because they were in LA when I was a little kid. And
Okay.
so the silver and black, the helmet's iconic,
Yeah.
right? So I appreciate really good branding. And the first time I saw the Jack Mason star from the original, when they had the Jack Mason type
Right.
font, when I saw the star, I was like, "Ooh, that's sweet, dude. That's
It's
really
clean, it's
freaking
simple, it's
nice."
real small, yeah. Like, some people, they're just like, "Give it to me sterile, don't even put anything up
Yeah,
there," but that star is just it's just small enough to not be, overdoing it, and I think it works really well. It's simple and clean.
yeah. It's hard to draw attention from the point of the circle, which is the hands, right? It's
Yeah,
usually really hard to draw attention away from that, in a good way, but that star draws attention away from it in a good way. Like, that star is the focal point or the anchor of their designs because,
yeah.
that is kind of a busy bezel. There's a lot going on, not in a chronograph way, but there's a lot going on, but that anchor, like, that star just anchors it all. It's all just like, and it all just
Boom.
works. It's beautiful,
Yeah, I'm
man.
right with you too. You sent me a message the other day, you were like, "Dude, if they loom that thing, I think
Oh,
that's something maybe in the future that we gotta work out doing,
yeah.
a little
That would
loom
be
Jack Mason star."
that'd be freaking sweet, man. But I look at your pictures of that and I'm like to myself, like, because I got stuff like I got a whole mess of stuff over here that I'm gonna take pictures of, and you can probably see my little photo booth right here. I take
Yeah.
pictures of that stuff, and when I sell it on eBay, I got some stuff I'm gonna sell, and I'm really, really seriously interested in picking that up because I had that root beer squale,
Oh, okay.
but I moved that to fund um my mula prosciutta.
Yeah.
So, but I've always liked like the root beer aesthetic, and
It's
then
clean, yeah.
yeah, but seeing it on your Jubilee, bro, like, cause it's freaking sweet, man. It's
They
really
got a
sweet.
really nice bracelet too, man, like, the clasp on it, it's got probably at least 20 millimeters of micro adjust. So,
Oh,
like, if you're a
wow.
guy that has wrist swell and you deal with something like that, or maybe you're a
Yeah,
diver and you're wearing wetsuits or
yeah,
gloves or something like that, like, it's got so much options for you for adjustments, and that's something that I look for, when I'm looking for watches nowadays. Because when I first started out, I was pretty heavily into the NATOs and other straps like that, Tropics, rubbers, and I've kind of just slowly graduated towards just bracelets, and that's kind of what I've been wearing a lot lately. And they've got a real good one.
Nice. Yeah, it's it's a sweet little piece, man. And you know what's funny, hearing you and Alex talk about him. Shout out Alex. Alex can't be here tonight. He's prepping. We like to call real world prepping. And then
Yeah, real world
he's got family stuff he's got to take care of. So we miss you guys. Look forward to
happens.
it. And shout out to Rob, who was almost a pinch hitter. Rob from Mushi Straps, but Rob's got some other stuff he's got to do. And so totally understandable there too. But it's seeing you and hearing you and Alex talk about Jack Mason. I really decided like I'm going to be at Wind Up this year, but next year my trip's going to be Introspect, and I want to go to the one in Dallas.
Yeah,
Um, you know, I got friends down in Texas I could see too while I'm down there for a little bit, and then I can see
yeah, man,
you guys. You know, if you guys can plan to go, that'd
for
be pretty.
sure.
And then I know that Dallas isn't quite as muggy as Atlanta, and I just can't deal with Atlanta mugginess. I
Yeah.
mean, I'd walk out
Well,
in the hotel
you're
room and
going
be
to
sweating.
Wind Up this year. Shoot Peter a message. Peter and Craig, the owners of Jack Mason, I talked to them just a couple days ago for that Dr. Pepper release that they have coming out here
So
in
cool.
the next 3 weeks. Yeah, man, super cool. I'm really excited. I'm on the list to get one of those too, so I'm gonna have
Nice.
two Strata timers here soon. But Peter and Craig are gonna be there at Wind Up, so they'll be there running around with their watches and stuff. So you should be able to get some hands on
Awesome.
with the Strato timer and their new diver, the Hydro timer as well.
Oh man, yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, well, because I signed up for I have the what do they call it, media access. So for
Yeah.
Saturday and Sunday, you can come in an hour early and
Oh,
walk around.
sick.
So yeah, and so it's pretty sweet, man. Like, and I'll be there super early on Friday, so I gotta figure out some stuff to do. There's a couple of people, you know, man, it's crazy, bro. Like the last year's been crazy. I've already been invited to like after the event,
Yeah.
so I kind of want to.
Grab drinks, bullshit, all that stuff.
Yeah, and it's with the
Yeah.
gentleman that I felt, Vincent from Mainspring. Vincent's out of France, I'm pretty sure, and
Okay.
like we met briefly last year there, but man, like I told him, I said I apologize, bro, if I was real short last year because it was my first time, and it was kind of like a lot. Like you walk in, like
Yeah.
me and my buddy drove from Virginia to New York. We get to the hotel. They had the wrong room for us. They had like one bed, and me and my boy T are like, this ain't gonna work. So we have to go
Nah,
downstairs,
this
and we're
ain't
like,
it.
yeah, we need a sleeper sofa or something. So they hooked us up, and then we ended up walking over there. So we cut the last couple hours, and then we hit it hard that Saturday morning. And then he's active duty, so he had a mission that Monday. And I looked at him. I said, "Hey, bro, I think we've seen like all the watch stuff we can see, and I know we know some people. Like, because at that point, I had known Mike Pearson, and I talked to like Johnny from William Wood Watches and stuff. And I'm like, but
Okay.
we're not going to really get invited to anything. So like, if you want to head out like Saturday afternoon and get home Saturday night, so you have Sunday at home, I'm down with it." He's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Screw it, let's do it, bro." So we got our stuff checked out, went and got the car. Oh, my car was parked in I guess they have car parking lots with elevators. It's crazy, bro. So I had to go get the
Oh, that's
car.
wild.
Yeah, and then it took us longer to get out of New York City than it did to do anything else. Like, and then
Oh,
it took us
yeah,
like
dude, the
40 minutes.
traffic there's horrible.
Yeah, so we hit Chick-fil-A outside of Dover Air Force Base, and then we
Nice.
just balled out, man. Like balled out the rest of the way home. Like, and it was still fun though. But this year I plan on doing all 3 days and get a
That'll be
good
cool.
time. But yeah, so I'll be sure to check them out. I appreciate it. I'll make sure they know that you sent me.
Yeah, for sure. Good people.
If I come out of there with a Strato timer, look, I got a list
Hey,
of stuff that there's already contenders of what I'm gonna buy because I'm only gonna buy one thing when I'm there. So
yeah.
I'm gonna look around. I'm really gonna
They
check.
got meal discounts too, dude. They got
Yeah,
military discounts. That's all I got to say. I hit up Peter and he sent me a link for a military discount. And that's a huge thing with me, you know what I mean? Obviously with
yeah,
you too, you know what I mean? Anybody that served, watch companies that are helping us out, veterans and stuff like that. I think that's lovely and they offer one, so it
yeah,
definitely be something to grab onto.
yeah. I mean, if a watch is like $500, they do 10%, bro. $50, you're getting a couple straps.
It's
You know what I mean?
9.99, dude, and it's
Yeah,
like I think it's 15% or 20%
yeah.
off of the watch. So after tax and everything was said and done, I still paid under what the MSRP was on the
Nice,
watch. So I mean that was a no-brainer.
nice. Yeah, yeah. So on my wrist today,
Oh yeah. That's another watch I got to check out at the Jack Mason boutique there at Intersect Dallas. I got to wear Wesley's. He
Yeah.
had his personal watch there on the table.
Oh
Really
yeah,
cool.
it's good, man. I had the, I like the whole Sector series. I like what they're doing with it. I like how everything's built around the
Yeah,
case. I think that if you are military or ever have been military, you understand that's how things kind of go, right? They make one version if it's really good, then they might make like the light version of it, or they might make the heavy version of it, or
yeah,
they might improve on it and upgrade systems and stuff like that. So I think that's I think that's shows it shows a hope of having your stuff around, right? Because you're investing in the future and the longevity. And I would say the breadth of your company by improving a line and understanding that this one piece may not be perfect for everybody, but you can improve. And I like that there's a field watch, there's a pilot's watch, there's another dive watch.
yeah.
Um, there's that
They got a nice lineup.
yeah, it's pretty snazzy. But yeah, so that's how I'm wearing it. I've been wearing it all day today. It fits all nice.
It's
I dig
clean.
it. It's super comfortable, bro. And the
You wearing
DLC
it
is done
on the
so well.
bracelet mostly?
Yeah, I'm never gonna take. I thought I was gonna put the Decon 2 strap on it. I thought I was going
Yeah.
to, and I'm like, nope. A- And it was like 70 degrees today. Like I actually wore a hoodie for the first like 3 quarters of the day.
Dang, that's
So I'm
nice.
like, yeah, but it's Virginia, so it's kind of like it's 70, and then like for 30 minutes it's 78. You're like, damn, I gotta take my hoodie off. And then
Yeah, it starts warming up fast.
yeah, Virginia, man, it's really screwy here. Like it could, it's the only place in the world I've ever been where I'm standing in the sun and I'm getting rained on.
Oh
I've
yeah.
I've never had it happen anywhere else. Never anywhere else. But but yeah, not much is going on over here, man. Like I don't really have any NWAs. I covered them last time. I've been doing my honeymoon phase with my SBGN 027.
Yeah,
The
the GMT.
bro, it's so
She's
good.
a beaut. I saw that post
Mm,
you posted what this morning
yeah,
or yesterday of it,
yeah,
dude. So clean. It's
it's
it's literally you and Alex got me wanting to pick one up next year. That's gonna be on my 2024 pickup list.
yeah, and it's crazy. I'm doing it because A, I had a credit with the boutique, right? So I'm not going to let just like X amount of dollars sit there. That'd be stupidity, right? And
Yeah,
B, I'm fighting my case diameter bias because for me, I kind of like I would normally think 39 is too small. Now, if I'm being honest, if this thing was 41 for my wrist, it would be perfect. But I think for anyone else, it might be too big.
yeah,
Um, but at 39, I'm when I'm wearing it, like I wear it to work a lot to make sure I remember, like, hey, if you got to wear a suit, if you got to wear a long sleeve shirt, buttoned up or whatever, um, this is what you're going to wear. This is what you're going to slide on. It's going to look right home. But see, I feel for the same reason, like your Strato timer does the same thing, right? Like
yeah,
I see it on there. I'm like, dude, you could totally wear it. Like you could totally wear that with a suit and especially on that Jubilee, right? And
yeah.
I feel like if you went to a meeting or something, like some person would lean in and be like, "Yo, what watch is that?" And you're like, "Oh, it's a Jack Mason Strata timer," and you'd probably get like 10 points towards your interview. Like they would be
It
like,
happened today,
yeah,
dude. I had
"Oh,
a
really?"
I had to go to a funeral obviously this morning. We
Oh,
had talked about that a little bit, so I had to do that for my wife's grandma. And that's what I ended up wearing. I had a suit on today and I ran into a guy who had a Panerai on, like a
oh wow,
modern a brand almost brand new Panerai. And I was like, "Oh, dude, that's a beautiful Panerai." And then he looked down at my wrist and he was like, "What do you got on?" And I popped it up. I was like, "Oh, it's, out of Dallas, Jack Mason." He was like, "Oh, I've seen those before. Those are cool." And
yeah,
it wore great with the suit. I never had any issues with it popping on the sleeve or
yeah,
anything like that. It wore really nicely.
yeah. I saw your picture on the gram, and
Oh, yeah, on my story, yeah.
it looked like you had a suit on, like layers, like
Yeah, I did,
a
yeah.
jacket and a shirt, and I was like, man, it looks really nice. Well,
Yeah.
sorry for your wife's loss, man. I know it's never easy for
Yeah, I appreciate
you
that,
and your
man. Yeah,
family.
it's life. Yeah, it happens. She
Yeah,
was, luckily it wasn't anything that was just out of the blue. She was 75, 76. So
yeah.
just end of life type stuff. But I appreciate your words. Thank you,
Oh, no
man.
problem, man. No, I know how it is, man. Trust me. It's the beginning of the year. The end of last year and the beginning of this year. A very close friend of mine passed away, and it's been something I've been dealing with for the whole year. And it's
Sorry to hear that. Yeah.
like you said, it's life, right? Because you're happy for them because in some way because sometimes they're in pain and
Yeah.
they're not who
They're
they
in a better place
were,
now. Yeah.
and yeah, but it's yeah, I hear you. So I appreciate you coming on,
Absolutely. Thank
in
you for
spite
having
of
me.
all that and everything. But we're here to talk watches, right? We're here to talk watches, and there's been some new releases. We're I want to just state early for everyone watching, that I wanted to show one watch company's stuff on their website, but their website triggers um, my virus software, antivirus software. And so I'm not going to go to the website because it just keeps telling me like, yo, if you go here, someone's going to steal your stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to have my stuff
They're
stolen. So
downloading all your data right now.
yeah, yeah. So I just signed up to be a Watch Crunch ambassador. I have no idea what that really means. I was instantly approved. I don't know if that's like a good thing or not, but
Nice.
we're gonna look at that watch on Watch Crunch's site because they do a pretty good job.
Watch Crunch is cool. Yeah, man. I've been using that just the last couple weeks, like cross posting between my
Yeah,
website and Instagram, and I like it quite a bit. It seems like Instagram basically, but just for the
or
watch fan.
watches.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Yeah, there's none of the other BS that you see on Instagram, so it's pretty
yeah.
cool.
I know, man. Talk about LinkedIn, bro. I just try to help people get jobs, and I got to filter through so much crud on LinkedIn.
You
It's
get
crazy.
500 emails a day from
Yeah,
LinkedIn about some BS.
yeah. Everyone, stay tuned for me and Justin's new podcast about social media sites. But anyways, um,
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll talk about that later. But the first watch we want to talk about is some new releases from Seiko. And let me see it. There's a couple of ways to do this, but yeah, from Seiko, the new 62 Moss special edition dive watches. And there's three of them. And the cool thing about this is that they all kind of go around either glaciers or the Great Lakes. And you ever been in the Great Lakes, Justin?
I have not. No, I know that's a big place for the Navy's basic military training. I know that that's pretty big up
Yeah.
there. I had some friends go up there. I've got family up there. It's a place I would like to visit at some time in the future. Go see Lake Ontario or something like that, or Lake Michigan. But no, I've not been up there yet.
Yeah, it's pretty snazzy. Well, there's more than one, obviously, but
Yeah,
they're really the term great really applies. They're freaking humongous, bro. Like,
like oceans, basically, right?
yeah,
Like you guys have
yeah,
naval ships on these lakes, which is hard to believe because Texas, we have crap loads of lakes. I mean, lakes everywhere. There's 5 or 6 lakes within driving distance of me, and they're fairly big, but it's
yeah,
hard to fathom in your mind how large these lakes are up there.
yeah. They're pretty close to being what I would call like traditionally oceans are bigger than seas,
Yeah,
and then then you get to other interesting terms, but it's they're freaking big and they're deep. Some of them are really deep for lakes, and it's all glacier stuff and everything. But
yeah,
that's the whole gist of these 362 Moss releases. And so, well, since you're our first time guest here, I mean, I guess I would like to ask you like your opinion on Seiko because, it talking about the 62 Moss or these new releases is fine, but really we're talking about like Seiko here, right? Like whenever Seiko releases something, the conversation always leads to greater what I call greater Seiko stuff. So what's your take on
yeah.
Seiko and then what's your take on these?
My take on Seiko is that there will always be a soft spot in my heart for Seiko, just as a watch enthusiast, and I feel like that's pretty much every watch enthusiast goes down the Seiko road at some point in their watch collecting career, if you will. So I love Seiko. I'll always love Seiko. Um, that being said, I think they released so many watches a year that it's hard for me to keep track of them all.
Yeah.
So sometimes I just get lost in it all, and I'm kind of past that point. There was a point in my watch collecting journey where I was just in the Seiko game, where I was just looking for other Seikos. I had like 5 or 6 Seikos together at one time in my collection. Now I'm down to 1. I just have 1 Seiko in my collection. Um, but that being said, I still think they're releasing really cool stuff. There's a lot of re-releases that they're doing, this one, included, that do still grab my attention and make me go, "Whoa," maybe I should pick that up. If I find a good deal on it, maybe I will. So I think they're still very much a player in the general watch community.
Oh yeah,
Um, for people that aren't, Seiko fanboys, because there are guys that are just diehard Seiko dudes that pick up every, re-release that they drop. But I think they're doing well with staying true to who they are and what they have released, um, with the re-releases. It's hard to go wrong with a re-release, you know what I mean? Like, the 62 Moss in particular is just so popular. It's such a good watch because it's
yeah,
elegant. It's a tool watch that's elegant and simple and clean. It doesn't have a lot going on with it, you know what I
yeah,
mean? I
yeah.
mean,
You could wear this
you
thing with a suit too if you really wanted to.
Anywhere. Yeah,
Yeah,
you could wear that thing mowing your yard, you could wear that thing scuba diving, you could wear that thing to a business meeting. I mean,
yeah.
and it's gonna fit right in, yeah. So
And the crazy
I
part
like
is like
them.
once you see their dials, right? Like especially if you're a newer watch enthusiast, and
Oh,
the first
yeah.
time you see like one of these Seiko dials, and you're just like, what kind of thing?
Their hands are killer, their loom, I mean, the BGW9, I don't know if this one in particular has the BGW9, but their loom is killer. I mean, it glows forever. The only thing that there's one thing I guess you could say about Seiko that most people will say is like, "Oh, bezel alignment." That's kind of one little hiccup that you see quite a bit with Seiko, but I think in the modern days, I don't think that's as big of an issue as it was maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, and I think that's like, man, that's like one specific corner of the internet that just has really good microphones, and they're just like yelling into the void.
It's an
You know?
echo chamber of
Yeah,
misaligned bezels, and then nobody brings up the fact that the Tudor Black Base had a huge issue with
yeah.
misaligned bezels.
And that you can take the bezel, like you could literally go to a watchmaker and take the bezel off, and maybe it's the bezel, or maybe it's the bezel insert, but you can still remove the
It
bezel
could just be
insert.
the insert. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just re-adhesive. You just
yeah,
slap it back on. It's not like it's no good anymore and you can't do anything with it. Yeah,
yeah. If a guy like me swapped the bezel insert out, anyone can do it. Because,
easy
but anyways,
peasy.
so this is a 419. The 419 is this color because of a thing called blue ice that happens on Lake Michigan. There's a whole series of scientific things that have to happen in order to get this beautiful blue ice. But that's what the dial is reminiscent of. And I mean, I know this is a render, but dude, like I know that dial kicks. I know that
Oh
dial
yeah,
slaps, bro.
it's got some texture to it.
Yeah.
It's got that nice fade where it fades from lighter to darker on the outside. The one thing that does, I'll tell you right now off the bat, the one thing that does bug me a little bit is how
Mhm.
green the bezel insert is.
Yeah, it's almost like a, what was that one? They have a samurai like that, a Japanese domestic model samurai where it's almost like a
Yeah.
aquamarine green,
Yeah,
and
like
that thing's sweet.
seafoam green almost
Yeah.
kind of as well, yeah.
Yeah, but I like it. And yeah, I like about the a 60, I don't have a 62 Moss. I've held plenty of them.
Yeah.
Um on my Seiko journey, like I have a whole podcast episode where I talk about how I ended up at Grand Seiko, and it's because Seiko basically, like let's be honest, like from if we're gonna really draw a line like a coaching tree in football, right? Seiko gives you options from like the grad assistant at $100 to the freaking head coach of an NFL team with like Creedor, which is
Yeah.
super expensive and refined. But you have the ability to really get to know the brand at different price points, right? So let's say you got in at like $150 and you're like, man, I enjoy this watch, right? And then you look at the $300 options and the $500 options and then the 600 and work your way up. There's a sense that you're what you're getting, right? Like
Yeah.
what you're getting. And then if you
I
start
agree
to
with
learn
that.
about, yeah, like movements, and like these movements are a little bit better as we get higher. Um, but the whole article basically culminated in like I got rid of, like, I had, man, at one time I had 5 or 6 samurais. I still love that line. Um, but only Seiko I have now is a Shogun. That thing on the bracelet, bro, is, oh, it's sick, dude. It's so good.
Yeah, they're killer, dude.
It's
Yeah, they're
so good.
great options, dude, down from the Seiko 5s all the way up to the Grand Seikos. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
there's something there for every single person and every lifestyle too. That's what's cool. And then like a lot of people hated on their drops of the like the Honda. They did one for Honda racing. They did
Yeah.
one for what was that one that they did, the rowing blazers? They did all those
Yeah.
like fashion,
Yep.
style ones. I love that, dude. I think that's
Yeah.
super cool because that's tapping into a whole nother world that the watch, they may not even be in the watch community, but that draws them to the watch community through Seiko. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And can start that relationship with them. I love it. They've got
Well, and I think,
everything, like
yeah.
you said, for anybody.
Yeah, and it's smart too because I mean, we all wear clothes, right? And
Yeah,
like we all dress differently, but it's like for a fashion brand or a clothing brand to understand that there is a watch company, right? And they're like, "Oh, okay." You know what I mean? Like, so maybe you're not like super into clothes, or maybe you're like, I always go back to young people who are getting into the job market right away, or even a veteran that's getting in the job market, right?
yeah.
Like, I tell people all the time, dude, are there active duty people that when they go on Liberty, they or whatever you guys call it, they dress to the nines? Yeah, but the majority of people I know were like, bro, I'm just wearing some basketball shorts and a t-shirt and some slides, man.
Looking
I'm
like
tired.
looking like Adam Sandler.
Yeah, I'm tired, man. I'm really tired. My body hurts. I just want to kick it. Um, and then when you go in the job market, I, I've asked so many people like, try this on that don't feel a watch and they don't wear one. I'm like, do you feel different wearing this? They're like, yeah, man, I feel like, I'm like, yeah, it's like a sense of power, right? Like it's time that you control. I don't know how to explain. It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and like what you're going on too, like with the whole like, people who go buy some clothes, at some outlet somewhere. 9 times out of 10, if they're not watch people, they're gonna go pick up a Fossil piece,
Yeah,
you know, or a Michael Kors piece,
yeah,
something that they're gonna overpay $100 for, and at the end of the day, it's just gonna be something that is not worth their time or money, but it's there and it's
yeah,
available. And I feel like if more companies tap into the fashion and clothing, and they don't have to go all out for it, but just getting something out there for the people.
yeah.
Make
No,
it
you're right.
quartz, make it cheap, make it affordable, but make something, and you can tap into that. I think
Yeah.
Seiko's the easiest one to do that just because they produce an obscene amount of watches a year. Obscene amount.
Could you
More
imagine
than
being the
probably
SKU
Swatch.
manager? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, dude, holy crap.
They're like,
They
Justin,
probably
we
got
need
an
a
AI
report on all the
generator.
SKUs. No, and I think you're right because like, I mean, that's how it was for me. I have a fossil that sits in my closet that when we bought our house, we just happened to be at the mall for some reason. And my wife's like, "Oh, you should pick that up," because I really liked it, right? And it's a
Yeah.
cool half texture, half matte dial. But now that and I even got it engraved with the date we got the house, but now that I know
Nice.
enough about watches, I know that it's got speedy elements,
Oh,
Speedmaster
that's cool.
Professional elements. It's got Breguet Type 20 elements.
Okay.
See, these are things I know now that I didn't know then, but when I
Yeah.
saw it, I was like, "Oh man, that's really nice," right? And and I'll tell you, like for the most part, Fossil makes a pretty decent watch. I understand they're fashion watches,
Yeah.
but the build quality is pretty stinking good because I've had that thing for freaking ever and it still works. And it's like
Yeah.
I wore it all the time. I've actually been batting around
They're
the
just
idea of
different.
a
Yeah. Different
yeah,
strokes for different folks. And I'm pretty
yeah,
sure they're partnered with Zodiac now. I think they own Zodiac.
yeah. Zodiac is their only mechanical brand.
That's cool.
Yep. And
That's a cool category to have too. Like if
yeah,
you're gonna just buy some random watch company, like Zodiac would be the one to buy. Like they've been around for freaking ages. They make
yeah.
cool shit.
Here in Mike's story, we interviewed Mike here on the channel, and that's
Yeah,
on our YouTube. You can
yeah.
check it
Listen
out.
to
But
that one.
yeah, Mike's awesome, bro. And they consulted with him and he was telling him like, "Hey, do you even realize how much history you have in this brand? Like, we understand it was kind of mismanaged in the '90s and stuff, but like, you have a lot to work with here. And
Yeah,
I think that's pretty cool too. But so this
super cool.
version, so the next two versions are going to be based off of ice and ice tunnels at different levels of a glacier, and they're called like moulins or something like that. It looks French. I'm probably not
Yeah.
mispronouncing it right. I didn't go to iceberg school. Um, So if anyone out there has, you can come on the show and tell us. But
This one does it for me, man. This one right here.
yeah,
This one does it. It's color match. That's what the
it's
last one was throwing
solid.
me off a bit. Yeah, like the whole graduation from the center of the dial out to the
Yes.
bezel. it doesn't just stop at the dial and then there's a new color on the bezel. Like this whole thing just works. It seems like they like this one is just meant to be. Like this is one I could see wearing as a daily for sure.
Yeah, because you always need a blue watch, and I don't
Yeah.
have I don't have one now, which is kind of sad. But
Air
I'm gonna
Force
get one.
color, Blue
Yeah,
Watch Monday. There's a whole bunch of reasons why to have a blue watch, but yeah, blue just works well. I mean, blue you wear it with blue jeans and a t-shirt, and it does it.
yeah. Let me ask you a question. Alex is an anti lots of text guy. How do you feel about like text on the dial?
Honestly, like the text on this one, it's fine. It's fine to me. There's nothing wrong with it, by any means. Now there are some that overdo it. There's some Rolexes that I've seen that are just it's just too much. There's like 4 lines, 5 lines. This is realistically 2 lines of text with a logo, at the bottom.
Yeah,
If I wanted to get real nitpicky, yeah, maybe do away with the Prospex logo or whatever that is there at the bottom. Yeah, Prospex logo, and then just
yeah,
run your font, but it's not too much for me, no.
yeah. I always like the Prospex logo because it looks like you're playing a house of cards, like you're stacking
Yeah.
cards up.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one's really nice. The next one though, mm,
Oof.
mm,
Damn, that texture on that thing
mm,
is
bro.
wild. And that's got a lot of white in it, which usually doesn't do it for me, but look at the way the hands play against that
Yeah,
silver. The way that
yeah,
they cast the shadow, because they're almost the same color.
yeah.
you know, between the hands and that silverish, but the texture on it and then the shadow that the hands cast on it, that could definitely be a daily driver for me too.
Oh yeah, this thing's
I think
fantastic.
the only thing that would make this better for me would be a color match date wheel. Had they done like a dark
Yeah,
gray with a white number on there, I think that would have just been an absolute
yeah.
home run.
And I always wonder about that, bro, because like you just hit like all the nails on all the heads. Because I drew growing up, and paint. I can still do all that stuff. I don't have much time to do it anymore. But why don't we see more inverse date wheels? Because a
Honestly,
lot of times,
I think it's too costly to do
yeah,
it most of the time, but then again, it's like Seiko, dude, like, you guys are manufacturing everything
yeah,
in-house, like, you guys have the facilities to do this, so why aren't you? And at the end of the day, honestly, I don't have an answer. I wish
yeah,
I did, 'cause I'm right there with you where it's like, dude, like, there's probably 100 watches that had my money. I mean, I got my card out and I'm smacking it on the table going, take it, take it."
take my money.
But sometimes that date wheel and the worst is when it's a black dial with a white date wheel.
Yes,
That just absolutely drives me up the wall. I think it's just ADHD, the way my
yeah.
mind works.
It's cool sometimes if they have white indices and it's a white date wheel, then it kind of balances out. But if it's any other
Yeah.
color indice, it just throws
Yeah,
off the
that's
whole
true.
thing.
It can work in there because it matches with the indices. Like right here,
Yeah,
it kind of matches with the
kind of
color
does.
of the loom that they've chosen. Now it's also hard to tell because this is a render.
Yeah,
Sometimes the loom will be more greenish than white.
yeah,
So it's really, when you get it in hand, but if that's a solid white loom, then it would work. It would be perfectly fine. I could wear it and it wouldn't drive me nuts.
yeah. All I know is that any kind of loom on a whitish dial, sick, bro. So
Yeah.
sick. Because sometimes I just light stuff up and I don't even take pictures of it. I just sit there and look at it for like a couple of minutes
Oh
and
yeah,
enjoy it.
shine your black light on it for a little bit. Yeah.
Especially Seiko, man. Like I don't know if they've ever made a poorly loom watch. I think
No.
it was a mandate a long time ago.
Yeah, they got
And
it
then
locked down.
oh, nice. You see some of the brushing.
Okay, so this is that first one that we looked at too.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is that one.
it's got some concentric brushing on the bezel insert.
Oh, it does have some brushing. I'm
Yeah,
guessing that's an aluminum insert then if that's what we're seeing. That's definitely not going to be definitely not ceramic.
yeah. It's nice though.
And this is a thing too that Seiko really needs to sit down and think about is the insert loomed or is it just the pip?
Yeah,
Like
it's
that's a
probably the
big
pip.
thing that they miss out on quite a bit. Yeah, I would put $100 bill on that just the pip is loomed. But had they done that BGW 9 on the bezel insert itself, I
Yeah,
mean that would just be a home run.
They'll
God, the
definitely
edges
be.
on that thing look so good. The crown looks like a wonderful size. Just
Yeah,
staring at the picture of that right now, just in consideration of the rest of the size of the watch, it looks like it's a solid size. Like it just looks like it's a joy to turn.
yeah,
Sometimes they're too small and they just feel wonky. It feels like you can't grab it properly, but that thing looks solid.
yeah. No, I know what you mean, man. I had surgery on my right hand, like my ring finger doesn't shut because I
Yeah.
tore a bunch of tendons off of my hand.
Oh, dang.
And dude, I want to talk about lucking out, man. Like if I had waited like 6 more hours, they would have just had to amputate my finger. I thought I just jammed my finger, you
Holy
know?
shit.
So I go back to work and everything, and I'm working, my hands killing me. And our doc, he was a senior chief, and he looks at me, he's like, "Man, what's wrong with your hand?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm a first class, I'm A6 at the time." I'm like, "Oh, everything's cool. I just jammed my finger last night." He looks at my finger, he's like, do me a favor, go to the hospital, the clinic real quick and get an x-ray. I'm like, all right. So I go to the clinic. Fast forward like 6 hours, I'm somewhere picking up some equipment for the ship, and our doc calls me. He's like, "Hey, go to Portsmouth Naval Hospital right now, or they're going to cut your finger off." I was like, "What?"
Jeez.
He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right." So I go to Portsmouth Naval Hospital. They jab my finger full of all this crap so I don't feel it, and they're like, "Hey, you got surgery tomorrow morning." I'm like,
Oh my god.
"Yeah,
Yeah,
dude."
that's crazy. Sometimes the blood flow will, like, stop
Oh,
due to whatever the injury is. Yeah, and they'll have to
I
amputate.
tore the
That's fucking
tendons
crazy.
off the top. So your bone fragments, right? I tore
Yeah.
them all off into my hand, and I'll show you at the next time the first time we meet. I'll show you the scar because I call it Frankenfinger because it's a
Yeah.
legit scar. And the doctor was like, "Hey, do you mind if I the on call surgeon was an orthopedic surgeon, and he's like, "Hey, do you mind if I have my friend come over and look at your finger because we've never seen anything like this before." And I was like, "Okay." I'm like,
Sure.
"Yeah, it was interesting." But there's all three of them right there.
Butte
I think it's a
bracelet
solid
looks
lineup,
solid.
really solid lineup, and especially if you're I don't know, if you're a Seiko fan, I think that's, and especially if you're a 62 Moss fan, I think that's just a pretty
They're
good.
iconic.
Yeah, they wear really nice, man. I like them because they're thin, skin diver type stuff. So
Yeah, they're not a giant watch like some of the watches they put out, like the Monster or, a lot of the divers are pretty big watches. The full-size tuna is a pretty big watch to wear, but I think the 62 Moss is right in that sweet spot. But, Seiko's got that magic that we like to talk about. So most of their watches just wear well anyways.
yeah, I totally agree. There's a lot of balance there and everything. So thumbs up for you.
Yeah. Yeah, thumbs up for sure.
Same here. All right, on to the next one. A Blanc Pond that hasn't
Phew.
gotten much talk lately, as opposed to
Phew.
the other Blanc Pond that had a whole lot of talk. Oh,
My buddy was calling that the shitty fathoms or something like that. We did a podcast, it's coming out, I think, next week as well. I think Thursday or Friday it's dropping with Dan at the Zulu Time podcast, but we were ragging on it a bit. I think
yeah,
there's a place for it. Obviously, there's a place for every watch or they wouldn't come out with it, but it's fun to rag on some pieces every now and again.
yeah. My thing is, there's all this talk, right, where people are like, "Oh yeah, but it gets him into the market." I'm like, "Does it?"
Does it?
Because
Yeah.
when the plastic version is $400 and the
Yeah.
real version, like
Eleven thousand.
the cheapest, yeah, yeah, 11 grand.
You're not even
Like
close.
you'd have to flip like 10 of those things to get
Oh, 100%.
to
Yeah.
get a real Blanc Pond. You know what I mean? And I like it. I've always liked the Blanc Pond. I think it's
They're
like I'm a big
iconic.
fan.
But like
Yeah,
at the end of the day, like I will scream this at the top of the mountain. Go get a Seiko mod. There's modders out there that can build you a 50 fathom
yeah,
Seiko mod for 300 bucks, 350
yeah,
bucks, and you got something that's serviceable with a good
yeah,
movement
yeah.
and it's unique. Yeah.
Oh, did I send you that video yesterday that I found of Adam Savage?
I don't think so.
Oh, I'll send it to you later tonight. So Adam Savage from Mythbusters.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen his YouTube channel?
I've seen, I think occasionally after
Ye
the show stopped airing. Yeah, I think I've
Yeah,
seen
he
a
has
few
like a
episodes.
huge like office where he does all kinds of stuff and builds stuff. He's a watch guy too, right? And
Yeah.
I wouldn't say like I think because the guy's like so smart and is interested in so many things, he's like I would say like a first tier watch enthusiast, right?
Yeah.
Um, he has a couple of real Amigas, but he's got I think it's a turtle. No, it's an SK. It's an SKX. I couldn't tell if it was a 13 or 7 or 9, but it's
Yeah.
a Pepsi model, and he has it on a Jubilee bracelet. Right, loves it. Right, the guy loves it. Wears it all the time.
Nice.
Someone made him an Omega Seamaster, but I couldn't tell if it was from the Heritage Collection. You know, with the Railmaster, the Seamaster,
Yeah.
and the Speedmaster. I couldn't tell if it was that or if it was one of the Bond ones, but it had like that Fotina look and everything. And they
Nice.
made him a mod, and it had an exhibition case back. So
That's cool.
I forwarded that to Joe. For those of you
Yeah.
new to the stream, Joe from
Seiko
Safe
did
Coded.
it.
Yeah, Joe's awesome, man. He great modder out of England. Uh, kind of the enemy back in the 1700s, but we're cool with him now. So, um, you know, or as Mike Pearson always calls me, he calls me a traitor. And and but it was a really, really well made mod, right?
That's
And the
cool.
part that I enjoyed about the video is that Adam knows it's not an Omega. Adam has Omegas, but for a guy who could probably have any watch he wanted,
Yeah.
he was super effing jazzed about this Seiko mod.
That's great.
And I tell people that all the time. Like, if you think you want something that's expensive, there are modders out there that can get you within like second to home base away, right? Maybe
100%. Yeah.
120. Yeah, like maybe 180 feet away. Like, it's never going to be like, if you put it on a time grapher, it's never going to obviously beat the same. If
Yeah.
something's there's certain things like, but like, you
It's not
see
gonna be
my mill
Metos
sub,
solder certified or cost
yeah,
certified, but you can still get them dialed in within,
yeah, and you see
5 seconds.
my mill sub that he made me, right? I
Yeah.
I will put that
Yeah,
down on the
the
desk with
Fotina
anyone.
one, yeah, that thing is
Yeah,
so sick, dude. That's why I messaged Joe in the first place. I was like, "Bro, how did you do this?" Like I
yeah,
was just, my imagination churning. I just wanted to figure out how he was doing it. And
he's
luckily
a
Joe's
freaking
just a
wizard,
great
bro.
guy. Yeah, so he talked with me a bit about it, but yeah, I
Yeah,
completely agree with you.
one of the great modders and one of the great beards in the game.
Yeah. Oh,
His
he's got a
beard,
huge beard.
yeah, I can't even grow, like, my face will look like dirt. The best I get is this little cheesy you know artist goatee. But anyways, yeah, I just think it's great, man. Modding's awesome, and then you can have an idea if you like something or not, right? Because
Yeah.
you can get the case diameter, you can get the bracelet type, you can get the crown type, you can, what I mean, get the crystal type, you can do all this stuff,
Yep.
and then
Get
it's
a
the
feel for
reason
it.
why. Yeah, because I bought it wasn't a mod, but I bought a Phoebus when I first got into it, and I got a Phoebus from Long Island Watch. Shout out Mark at Long Island Watch, dude. Met him at Wind Up, great dude. Whole team's great,
Great
but
dude. Yeah.
he was selling the Phoebus line. He still does, but he had their Submariner homage, and I bought it.
Nice.
It was, dude, to this day, best $89 watch I've ever owned in my life. Insane.
Yeah, that's a screaming deal too. 89 bucks
$89.
for something like that.
I thought the cops were going to come to my house and kick the door down. Um, but it made me realize, like, okay, I don't think I'd want a submariner, not a
Yeah. I mean,
traditional submariner.
$20,000, dude. I mean,
Yeah,
they're so out of touch with reality. They're so out of touch with regular human beings charging that much. That's why Omega will always be one of my favorite Swiss brands,
yeah,
to date, because they're affordable and they're available. They're everywhere. You can go buy one any day of the week. That's what I love about Omega.
yeah. I could go to. I mean, you can you can buy them on the NavyExchange.com, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Like,
you can buy them online. There's like 100 websites you can go to. They're everywhere.
yeah, they make really cool stuff. It's Rob from Mushi loves the Speedmaster,
Yeah.
man, and like,
Yep.
to hear him talk about the movements, he just waxes poetic, man.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
me talking about right fielders in baseball. Like, he talks about the movements, it's just crazy. But
They're
yeah,
cool.
so this is the 70th anniversary Blanc Pond 50 Fathoms, the Act 3. Um, I guess that's the way of doing it, so you don't say 73 year anniversary model.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it's solid. I think if you're a Blanc Pond person, which I don't know if there are, I've never seen anyone ever wearing one.
I've never seen anybody in person wearing one. I've seen them at watch stores, like, Watches of Switzerland. I think I've seen
Mhm.
one there before, a while back, but yeah, I've yet to see, a human being in real life wearing one. Maybe they're just for aliens, dude.
Yeah, I know that crystal's sexy though.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful aesthetic, just the retro vibes of it, but yeah, I mean, the Stratotimer, crystal's just like that, a big old domed sapphire crystal that like that right there, that shot
Yeah,
right there on the minute track, it highlights that, you know what I mean? Like, where it magnifies it in certain views and stuff like that, it's
yeah.
beautiful. The thing is clean, and I'm a sucker for brass. I had a Halio Seaforth, Gen 2 pastel blue in a bronze case,
Okay.
and it's really cool, you know, you polish it up and it looks, I mean, pretty
Oh,
much
nice.
like gold, if you
Did,
will, but
did you see that they loomed the bezel insert?
yeah, yeah, that's a home run right there. But they better well be looming that bezel for the price, bro.
I was waiting for
Holy
that. I was
smokes.
waiting for that. I was waiting for that because I'm like, yeah, you need,
$32,000.
yeah. And then you saw like, and I thought the same thing when I saw the buckle is engraved, right? I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
has a special strap, right? Um,
no
exhibition,
bracelet.
yeah, all that stuff, right? Oh yeah, that's a crazy part. You
Dude,
know, it's beautiful.
it is gorgeous. It's the same watch, dude. That's another thing where it's like good and bad. I can literally I'm standing on the fence in between the both spectrums, right? Of
Yeah,
you're not innovating anymore. You're literally just putting out the exact same watch that you've put out for the last 50 years,
yeah,
maybe longer.
yeah.
What are we talking about here? Like, you
Have you
guys
ever
have
seen?
to have perfected this thing to get it down
Yeah,
to a cost that people can afford, but that's just the game they're playing, right?
yeah. Have you ever seen Tron Legacy?
The newer one?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, I've seen
yeah.
that one.
Underrated movie, first off, but
Killer
second off,
movie.
when Cillian Murphy is in the boardroom and they're asking about the newest software release, they're like, so you didn't do anything, you're just calling it version 12? He's like, yeah, calling it
Yeah,
version 12. Like,
new name,
that's what they
same
do with the
game.
watches. Now
Yeah.
it is 9 karat bronze gold, a patented alloy enriched
What
with
does that
37.5%
mean?
gold Harmach 9K, copper 50%, allowing it to be called bronze. It's
So
also
it's
got silver, palladium, and gallium.
cheap
Yeah.
gold, and then they're charging 32 grand for it. So that's a little silly to me. I'll say that, but I'm obviously not a metallurgy expert. You know, I'll say
Yeah,
that
me
right
either.
now so that way, you know, people aren't freaking trying to hang me over this, but that seems like a way to, hey, let's not make these things out of full gold because we can save some money. Let's add 50% copper in there, which is an extremely cheap metal, and then we'll charge as much as we are. That seems a little silly, but it's cool if they're innovating. Like, if they're the first
Yeah.
people to do this mixture and this is something new that other companies start using, you
So
know?
yeah, so Zen, was it the U50? They have a U50. I think it's a U50 or a U1 that's got this
Yeah.
bronze gold thing going on,
Okay.
right? And I I I've seen that one in real life, and that one's interesting because gold kind of like naturally has a luster across all the carats.
Right.
Theirs is very very Zen-esque, like matte.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's and they give the breakdown. They'll never give you the full breakdown because it's all proprietary.
Right.
But like, come
Sometimes they
on,
coat it and stuff too, yeah,
yeah.
like, they'll
You
have, like, a clear coating.
Yeah, do you ever listen to you ever heard a podcast called Spycraft 101?
It sounds familiar, yeah, I think
Okay, dude.
I have heard of it.
Yeah, shout out Justin, great podcast. But he just takes like spy stories from history, right? And then he'll interview like cool people. Like he's interviewed some really interesting people, man. Like it's insane. But he has a whole episode, a gentleman that wrote a book about how the Swiss industry basically destroyed Waltham watches because during one of the Great American Fairs, Waltham had figured out how to use mass production to make some stuff, right?
Yeah.
And There was a guy who was like associated with the Swiss, who was like a reporter, like investigator kind of guy, and he wrote back to them like, "Yo, you guys are gonna have problems." Like, I think he used like a telegraph or something, but he was like, it was that long ago. He was like, "Yo, you're gonna have problems because this watch company is able to do what you do, but through manufacturing." And
Oh
they
yeah, instead of
basically
like
paid him.
dudes standing there doing this by hand. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They paid him to spy, and he was able to score all this stuff and send it back. And then
Holy
the
shit.
Swiss basically committed industrial espionage to get this. So that's all me saying. I'm not saying they went and had someone inside Zinn, but maybe they did because Zinn's came out a couple years ago. But
Hey, we'll leave that out to be a mystery, dude.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's one of the mysteries of the world. I think I think this is a win if you get this cool. Like this is them one upping Citizen because when you get a Pro Master diver, you get the cool little
Wild case, yeah.
yeah, and
The scuba tank thing, yeah, 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 the SCBA tank.
yeah, 555 pieces, limited edition. I think it's cool. I think it's a win if you like Blancpain. Um,
Yeah, if you're a collector, for sure, this is cool.
yeah. Okay, so on the next one. That one's a thumbs up. And then
Yeah, thumbs up for me. You'll never see me buying it just because it's freaking as much as a brand new car is
yeah,
nowadays, or half of that of a new truck, but
yeah.
cool watch nonetheless.
Yeah, truck prices are crazy, man. I don't even want to
Bro,
talk about it.
$100,000 for a freaking F-250, dude. God.
When I was looking at cars, I went to a Toyota dealer. Well, I went to a Lexus dealership for an SUV. They wanted
Yeah.
9 grand over the market. And I told the dude, no. He's like, well, that's the market value. I'm like, that's a made up number, bro. He's like, well, how do
You're
you know? I'm
tagging
like, because
on stuff to
yeah,
make freaking a commission.
yeah. When I explained to him what I do, then he understood that I knew it's a made up number. And then,
Yeah.
long story short, he calls me up like 2 days later. Oh, we found one for you, and we'll sell it to you at MSRP. I'm like, sorry, bro, I already bought a different vehicle.
Tough
You could have
shit.
done that the day I was in there. I was
Damn.
I was ready to spend the money. And here's the worst part: I felt so bad for the salesman. Was a young kid who was like super thorough, all that stuff. Bro,
Yeah.
I got $100 Amazon gift card or Visa gift card. I drove back to the dealership. I pulled in my new car. The kid comes out. He's like, "Oh, it's so awesome! This thing's great." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Here you go, man. Here's for your time. You
Oh,
gave me like
nice.
an
That
hour and
was
a half
nice
of your
of you.
time. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't buy
Yeah.
a car from you. And I didn't buy a car from you because your sales manager's a dummy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
He
Like,
ruined it.
yeah, you ruined it, right? But then Toyota, dude, they wanted 60 grand for a 2019, not the Tacoma. What's the one above the Tacoma? A Tundra.
Oh, yeah, the full size. Bro,
$62
that's crazy.
for a Tundra.
It's crazy.
I could fly over to the Middle East and pick up a freaking
Bro, you're telling me we could go to Kuwait and pick up some wholesale models they send
yeah,
over there for about 10 grand.
yeah. What's the model they use over there? It's
The Tacoma is huge over there, and
yeah,
then they use all the Forerunners and
yeah,
all that stuff. Yeah.
yeah. But we're not a truck podcast, we're a watch podcast. So for
We
the
are
audience at
back to
home,
watches.
yeah, for the audience at home, I apologize for these pictures, but when you
Bro, this
go
thing
to
is so
Yema's website,
gorgeous.
yeah, when you go to Yema's website, it triggers my antivirus stuff. Um, and it's basically like you can't trust this website. So I'm like, shout out to Watch Crunch. Watch Crunch made us available, and someone actually gave us a Lightroom. Dude, listen, as a website guy, a guy who has his own website, I'm sure you can attest, Justin. When people don't lighthouse the pictures where you can expand them to see them up close,
Oh,
it's a
yeah, the
fail.
worst. The
You should always
worst.
have that on your website. So Watch Crunch has got it. This is the Yema Tourbillon. It's the yacht graph.
And this
I
is
mean,
also this is a 75th anniversary,
oh
a limited edition.
yes,
So, right along the
nine
lines of that Blanc
nine
Blanc.
thousand $999.
Just
Now here
shy of 10,000.
here's the only I only know a couple of things about Yema. You ready? They're
Yeah.
French and they
Yep.
have horrible customer service.
I didn't know that factoid, but I did know that they were French.
Yes, everything I've heard from a metric butt ton of people is that their customer service is horrific. So take that what you want. I
That's
think it's cool.
horrible.
It's a tourbillon. It's beautiful. For $9,000, I would hope that you would give me some curved ends on the strap.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
that's
want to see a gap.
straight bar. I mean, fitted, bro. That should be fitted for 10
Yes,
grand. It should look like the freaking Rolex rubbers look like, or the Omega rubbers look like. It should be
yeah,
fitted for sure.
and make it smell like vanilla, like Zodiac does, because they care about
Yes.
you.
Add some raspberry scents into that rubber.
Raspberry It's like, man, I'm hungry every time I wear this watch. I think this is a win. I wouldn't buy it for 9 grand. But I think it's a really beautiful watch, and it's cool because, to my knowledge, is Yama's never had a tourbillon, have they?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I can't recall seeing any of the those movements ever, no.
I think it's pretty snazzy. All right, so the one that we're going to share here is it's
The
pretty
crazy
sweet.
one.
So the Bulgari, I don't know if it's Monet or Monete, Caten dual time secret fitted with ancient Roman coins.
Denarius's.
This thing is freaking sweet, bro.
I'm on the waiting list for this watch, so I'm just waiting for my AD to get back to me. I've got 400,000 in escrow. I'm waiting to purchase this thing.
I just
It's
logged on
cool.
to I just logged on to my crypto account and
Yeah. I've been mining coins all day.
now here's my thing. If you're gonna be obnoxious, be the best, most obnoxious you can be, right?
100%, yeah.
And this thing is so freaking gaudy that it's good.
Yes, this looks like something out of Goodfellas. If I was watching Goodfellas and I saw like in this, you remember the
Yeah.
scene in Goodfellas where they hit it big, they do the big run from the airport, right?
Yeah, the
And then
Lufthansa raid.
they pay off everybody, and then
Yeah.
they're doing the deal at the bar, and everybody's coming in with a damn brand new Cadillac, brand new fucking fur coats, and
Yeah.
they're pissed. They're like, "What did I tell you? I told you to sit on the money for a while. Don't be
Yeah.
buying a brand new Cadillac."
Yeah.
This was something you'd see them walk in with, and they'd be like, "Check out this new watch I got."
Yeah.
This thing is
Dude,
wild, dude.
you have to have like a 9-inch wrist.
Oh yeah, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. The bracelet is
Yeah.
it's 3.5 inches wide, dude. It's fucking so big.
It is
I
insane
love
though,
dude, the
man.
coins on there though, like
Yeah.
that. So I'll tell you right now, this is something that I could see somebody doing as a case back option on a watch is doing like a Roman numerals on the dial and then on the case back doing like a minted Roman coin like that. I think that would be super cool. I think that they've nailed this, even though you won't see me buying it just because it's out of I think everybody's 90% of people's price range, but I think it's cool, dude, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's intricate too, man. Like there's a lot because
It is.
these
It's
diamonds are being
symmetrical.
hand set.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, look at the baguettes. Those
Yeah.
baguettes that were on right there on the bottom, yeah, all around the outside of the case right there. I mean, you can tell they're hand set too because they're not extremely symmetrical to each
Yeah.
other, and you can see where the gold folds over on the corners of them,
Yeah.
and they
These are my
almost look like
second
some of them
second
are
favorite baguettes
rubies.
though. Yeah, they're my
Yeah,
second favorite baguettes.
they're not perfect. That's what's so
No.
gorgeous about them is that you know what I mean, you see stuff come off the line sometimes from these like high-end diamond jewelers where they all every single piece coming off the line looks the exact same. This looks like these stones were just handpicked and they weren't extremely well polished and cut to be the exact same shapes.
Yeah.
They
It's
kind of have
beautiful.
like their own fingerprint to them, if you will.
And it looks old world. It
Yeah,
looks
it
like
does.
it was made a long time ago.
1920s, bro. Like that's what I would this is like The Great Gatsby, dude. That's what I could see this dude wearing this at like a martini party in the 20s.
And then he slides it down his hand and punches someone in the face with it.
Yeah, over his knuckles like it's
Yeah.
a freak like it's a
Bam.
pair of brass knuckles.
Yeah. Look at that
The
thing,
thing is
man.
wild. I wanna know where they like, I'm very interested to look up the guy that made this and, like, read about his inspiration
Yeah.
on this piece
Uh,
because you don't see many things like this anywhere.
No. Do you think this is the wrist shot of the year?
Yeah, I mean,
Whoever this lady is?
it's bizarre that it's on a woman's wrist too. Like, it's just huge. It's honking. It
Yeah.
doesn't look like something that would belong on. It looks like something that Rocky Balboa could slap on his wrist,
Yeah.
and it would look like he was like a gladiator, bro. Like it's just a piece of
Each one of
armor.
these chains could stand on its own around someone's neck.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
100%. They're probably each one of those chains too. Like, imagine you gotta take links out of that thing, and it's like every link that you're taking out of that is like 20 grand in baguettes and diamonds and stuff, dude.
Imagine trying to resell that on eBay. You're like, sorry, man,
Fuck.
I don't have 3 of the links.
That's
Oh,
cool, man.
I like the pop of color.
Are there no numbers on that dial?
It
Is it
doesn't look
just
like it.
hands?
It looks like it's just hands.
That's even more gangster, bro. Like, you got that much money, you don't even need to know what time it is, bro.
Yeah.
You're just wearing that thing to flex on every human being.
I like though that they care enough to protect the dials, right? Like you got a little
Yeah,
clasp
that is
cover.
cool. It reminds me of like the old cigarette holders that people used to
Yeah.
carry around back in the day. You pop them open.
Yeah. See, I don't
Oh,
think
that
I see any
baguette on the
numbers.
crown too, on that left side. That
Yeah.
thing is, mm.
Bro, I picked my wife up a Cartier tank.
Oh yeah,
That's just pure class, man.
Butte. Yeah, Butte. Those things will always be beauties for sure. I like the larger ones too. Like if I was, considering getting one, I'd probably get that large one that they make.
The Santos XL.
Yeah, the
That thing's
XL.
sweet, bro.
Thing's a
That
baddie.
thing's sweet. Yeah, because if I ever, yeah, yeah. Anyways, I don't want to give myself any
Gonna get
ideas,
you in trouble.
dude. But this one is a big win, like for me. Like
Yeah, this
if
one's
I had
double
seven
thumbs up.
hundred thousand dollars laying around, and you know what I would do? I'd mail this out to the boys. I'd wear it for a while, get it insured,
Check this out, guys.
and I'd mail it out. You guys wear it for a while, give yourself some cool wrist shots.
Yeah, it's
And
unique, and the unique factor will always have a spot in my collection. I think that that's a big thing when I'm looking for a new piece is like, is it unique? Is it
yeah,
something that's a little different than most of the stuff that you see? Because you see the same Submariner divers. I mean, I feel like every time I see a new diver drop, I've already seen it before. I've
yeah,
seen its design cues in 100 other watches that have just
yeah,
released in the last 9 months. So the uniqueness factor, I feel like, will always have a spot for me in my heart for sure.
yeah, definitely, yeah. And it's yeah, dude, because that's a flex, bro. No one else wins.
No,
No one else
no,
wins at
you
that
win.
watch
I
meeting.
don't even care if they have a freaking Richard meal on,
Yeah,
bro. You still win. You're
yeah.
iced
No,
out, dude.
Richard Mill is the guy who traded in a bunch of his Bitcoin. This
Yeah,
thing is like that person's living off their great grandmother's money, right? Like kind of
yep.
thing.
Popping
Yeah,
champagne bottles from 100 years ago.
yeah. My champagne cork's older than your house, but
100%.
yeah. Well, Justin, I appreciate you coming on, man. This was a heck of a lot of fun. Um,
Absolutely.
and I love talking watches, but I especially love talking watches with my boys, especially with those very knowledgeable and know your stuff. Do you got hey, since you're a guest, anything you want to shout out, anything you got going on for your blog or anything? If not, no big deal, but I always give people the opportunity to if they want to.
Well, we've got the episode airing on Tuesday with
Yep.
Jason at Watch Rolling. And then I think on Thursday or Friday, I'll have an episode with the Zulu and Time podcast. Dan over there, we've got an episode where we kind of did a catch up on the Black Pawn, that last one that they did, the bioceramic, and
Yeah.
then we talked about the new Tudor release as well. Just kind of bullshitting
Mm.
about those two, kind of like we did tonight. Just kind of have those two coming out. Some reviews in the future, and just whatever pops up. I like talking about new stuff, so just kind of what pops up here and there.
Yeah. I need to do a deep dive on Jack Mason. I really like that colorway. I'd be interested to know if they're gonna do. I don't know though, man. I love that root beerish type colorway. That thing.
Yeah, the Ruby is sick.
It always has. I feel like it's in the pantheon of colorways.
Yeah.
It's in the pantheon of colorways. It's not.
Yeah, it's definitely top five for me. I think if I was gonna go another colorway just on what they have available right now, it would have probably been the Americana, which is like the Pepsi. It's the blue
Yeah.
dial, kind of blue Sunburst style with the red and blue bezel on it. But it's a true GMT, dude. That's what's so killer about it.
Yeah.
Like jumping hour hand, the bezel's done right. There's so many GMTs that just absolutely fail on the bezel. They'll do 120 click unidirectional bezel, where Jack Mason's done a 48 click bidirectional. So I mean, they've really nailed every aspect of it for sure. It's a great wear.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to seeing one in the flesh. But yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
for sure.
appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it and appreciate to all the audience that tuned in. I think we had one person at one time. I know there's usually more numbers. At the end of the day, like when we see the numbers, there's always more people. And I don't
Yeah.
think the number up in top reflects, but either way, whatever. And shout out to Alex. We know you guys got some stuff you're taking care of, and shout out to Cody and Rob for
Yep.
possibly making it. And everyone, go check out reconteamwatchblog.com. It's Justin's website. He's got a blog with all different kind of writers. They cover all different kind of watch stuff, but they also cover technical stuff, tools, technology tools, and
Outdoors.
outdoors. I was going to
Yes,
say
sir.
terrain. I thought terrain.
Dude, that goes right along with it. Yeah, like mountaineering, hunting, fishing, just getting
Yeah.
outside.
But you got any parting shots, Justin?
Just hey, put out positive energy, man. That's all I'm about, man. Just be good to each other and let's have a good time.
I couldn't have said it any better. Have a great night, everybody. And thanks for stopping by Government Cheese Time. Good night.